can explode through the rest of this year and have people run through I know nothing to all the way through EVP.
It's actually what is it that you want, right? But then asking that question kind of over and over because seasons change.
Insert FFL to the best of your ability to because this thing works for everybody that works.
Thank you for joining us on our Family First Life Tri-State Serve the People podcast. We appreciate you tuning in, spending your time to develop and grow with us. Follow us, please, on all our social media platforms at Family First Life Tri-State or FFL Tri-State. We love you. Keep listening, and I hope this information is serving you across the country. Everybody, thank you for jumping on with us today. I got my man Wayne Carr, Training Day Podcast, borderline board member. Just had his best month ever, FFL Hidden Gems. Over 918 families helped. These guys got momentum. They're steamrolling. They're putting things in place to make it happen. But without further ado, Mr. Wayne Carr, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
My man. Pleasure to have you, as always. A regular guest on the show. But you guys got a lot going on. You know, we had a chance to talk over the last couple of days and watching what you guys are doing and seeing you guys have your best month ever. I just wanted to get you on here to talk about some of the stuff that's moving and shaking because, as you know, Wayne, this is, we got to constantly kind of reinvent ourselves to get momentum and get things rolling in the right direction and to sustain momentum. So I want to kind of get into some of that with you. But before I do that, let's talk about how it feels to have had your best month ever and for your team and for some of them to be breaking levels and breaking records for themselves.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's exciting. And I think it goes back to how it started. Thanks for having me on. Like I think because of the way I was introduced to FFL and the things that were provided for me, to be able to turn around and give that back and have an impact on people and just watch them go from not knowing anything about insurance to knowing about insurance or not thinking they could build an agency to building something substantial and significant and actually becoming a leader in their own right is a reward all its own. So it's fun to watch, and it's one of those things that you never really bargain for or expect when you join FFL, because I mean it's you can't describe that feeling and you can't describe that process, but when it happens, you're like, okay, I'm addicted to that now.
And you're seeing a lot more of that. You know, you got new groups kind of popping up all over the place. You know, energy, and it's just like. That is a really good feeling. You know what I mean? Seeing people do more than they've ever done and feeling good about planning for the future, bro. Like, you know, we all are trying to plan for the future and do more for, if you're married, spouses, if you have kids. I got to kind of give it up to the dog people because I got a lot of them in my office. But if you're doing it for your pets, you're doing it for your pets, but at the end of the day, you are trying to plan. You know what I'm saying? And when you have something that's working, you feel a lot more excited about the plan. You know, you feel a lot more excited about what you can accomplish, what you can do. And that's essentially what we're doing for families and folks. So what are some of the things y'all put in place over the last 90 days? And then some things that you are starting to see come to fruition, and then some things that you're putting into place now that you want to perform for Hidden Gems in the next 90 days.
Yeah, I think it's it's ongoing. It seems like it's been a kind of a trend since I started to build an agency. It's just tweaking processes. It's just figuring out how to most effectively and efficiently get people from I'm in class to writing their first piece of business and keeping them engaged along the way. And I think we found the most effective means that we had thus far anyway of helping people get through there with minimal hiccups and without losing without losing that level of engagement, that level of excitement, and then helping them through that process. And really, as I talked through it, what it really came down to, man, is just learning how to set realistic expectations, and having real conversations with people so that when those things happen, they didn't get completely discouraged and go left. And then aside from that, it's really just finding different ways, and we talk about it all the time, just different ways to support people. Because as we laughed about over the course of the last couple of days, like, you can't approach everybody the same way. Um, and support means something
That's
different to
great.
everybody.
Yes,
So
sir.
being able to just find different ways, different approaches, and sometimes it's not even you, just different people to provide that support and that comfort and that peace of mind so that they can do what they came here to do, which is ultimately provide for their dog.
Ah! Only you. Only you would do that. Only you would drop that like that. So as you say that, you know, I think about, meeting people where they're at. It's very much about what people want.
Right.
And sometimes I find myself, I mean, a lot of time in the past, I used to tell people what they would want, which is like, I mean, it was like
Right.
hypnosis. You know what I'm saying? But then I learned over time that that doesn't really work. I mean, that doesn't have long-term legs. It's actually, what is it that you want, right? But then asking that question kind of over and over, because seasons change. And then
Hmm.
understanding like people have the right to change what they wanted, or if something's growing, they could expand their vision, or they can move their vision to the left or to the right. It's their prerogative. And, you know, but it's our opportunity and our job to kind of continue to know what it is that people want so that we can continue to reach people. And like you said, you can't reach everyone the same way. But one of the best ways to reach people is asking them, what do you want?
Hmm.
So, I mean, I know you guys are kind of putting in processes. Can you walk us through some of the stuff you're doing from a recruiting standpoint, and some of the stuff you're doing, and how you guys are onboarding agents to start to getting the result you're getting?
Yeah. So I'll start with the recruiting side. A lot of what we're doing now is just that, is just asking people what they want, figuring out kind of where they are, targeting people in specific industries, um, specific walks of life that are going through the same thing. So it's almost built in with a few nuances and a few tweaks. So I'm having very similar conversations on a consistent basis, and you can't help but get better when you're having the same conversation over and over again. So social media is one of those things where you kind of have a cheat code. If you can connect with somebody on social media and engage them, like, you see their life or what
Mm-hmm.
they want you to see of their life, which is what they want to talk about anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
you know what to talk about. And if you're targeting them from similar backgrounds, then you kind of know what the other side looks like too, from conversations that you've had with other people. And then you have this compounding effort or effect of you just getting more and more familiar with them and effective with them. And it's a relationship business at the end of the day. So you
Mm-hmm.
establish a relationship with them, figure out where they are, figure out what they want, and then insert FFL to the best of your ability to because this thing works for everybody that works. So
Facts.
insert FFL, and then continue developing that relationship and figuring out what support means to them. Support may mean leave me alone until I get ready to schedule the test. Support may mean I have questions about the stuff that's on the exam. Can I call you a couple times a week to talk through some of the things that I'm thinking as they come up? So being available and having the pieces in place if it's not you. Like, I have a person that kind of follows people through that process from the time that they get put into course to the time that they're ready for that leads call. In addition to my touches and Mary onboarding them as well, they're following them A to Z to make sure that they're plugging in to the right things at the right time,
Mm.
and that FFL stays in front of them so that it never becomes an afterthought. And it's increased their level of engagement and the volume at which we get people through the class, even though they're cold market, more cold market now. It's just increased everything tenfold as far as effectiveness and efficiency goes.
No doubt. With that, we talked about going cold to warm. Can you enlighten people on what that actually means?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually struggle with it too initially. I think you did this to me earlier in my career. He's like, "Great, you're going to train on that now." And I was like, "Wait, maybe I don't have it."
Yeah, that's Wayne
But
Carr for you.
it's everything that we just talked about. It's establishing that relationship from the beginning, getting to know them. Through getting to know them, you get to know the things that they like, the circles, the things that are around them, and then um, by understanding those circles, you start to just kind of ask leading questions as to who else they might know,
Mm-hmm.
or what else they might be exposed to, or where else we might be able to find more people that look like them that hadn't thought about this before, didn't think they could do it before. That now that you know and think that you could do it, like we can talk to them and help them through it too, and use you kind of as a catalyst, good, bad, well, not good, bad, or indifferent. Obviously, it has to make sense, but the sooner you get in there, the easier it is to kind of build those bridges between that person, those people, and FFL.
No doubt.
So just having those conversations and getting to know them so that you know who to ask for. Because if they don't have siblings, you can't ask about their siblings like what they do. If they're in a fraternity, you know to ask about what they do collectively as a group. But if they
Mm-hmm.
don't have those things because you didn't ask, you can never go cold to warm.
Got it. Makes sense. And would you agree that it's easier working with warm market?
Um, it is because a few different reasons. Their belief level is higher.
No doubt.
Um, their trust level is higher, and they their endurance is stronger,
That's a great way to say it.
because you're gonna come across some things internally and externally in this business, especially early on. And if you don't go cold to warm and making that person your warm market, or making them feel like they're your warm market, then when you try to talk them through those things, it's just going to be dismissive.
Mm.
They're not going to believe. Uh, they're not going to believe what you say, because what you said got them to this point. And if you didn't establish that relationship, then your credibility is shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, beyond that, it goes the same for their people. Now they're edifying you. So if they're edifying you, because you're going cold to warm and now helping their warm market, if you don't establish that relationship for them, they don't have good things to say about you and their experience and the support, and the transition to this industry. So it's crazy how many levels it works on, and I didn't even realize until you asked the question. But you kind of you have to care.
Right. When you think about these business opportunity meetings or these business overview meetings, what gets you excited about this? And I know you guys are running them down in Tampa. Talk to us a little about some of the stuff you guys are doing, and we were talking about this. What has you excited about this?
It's it's going back to basics, kind of like a lot of other things. It's going back to basics, getting it in front of people on a high level, and then just just doing it collectively. It's kind of like, now that we have these offices all over the country and all these people to utilize and tap into as they move around the country. This recruiting effort, this collective recruiting effort to put this in front of people, it just makes it that much stronger of an opportunity. Like we always talk about being a team, because if somebody wins, if if somebody wins, it makes the company more valuable. If we have these business overview meetings, and like we had Joe Basso in a week or so ago, Joe Basso flies in, he recruits to it. The people in our office recruit to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now the event is exponentially larger and more credible, and the opportunity is more credible because Joe Basso flew in from the Northeast, and then you have these people here that are also talking to you about this opportunity, and everybody brought these people here to hear about this opportunity. Now everybody's looking around like, oh, this does make sense. This is for real. These people are doing it, and all these people are trying to be a part of it too. let me listen a little differently.
Yeah, that's strong. I mean, it's pretty powerful, these meetings. I mean, even the setup, from the opportunity meeting to the Q&A to the sale to the training. What I'm finding is you're really getting in the meat with people, because smaller groups, and you're really able to kind of dig in and hear somebody's struggle, pain, or victory, and then you can teach. If it's a victory, you can teach the whole room. If it's a struggle, you can teach the whole room. You can edify and uplift the person while teaching the whole room. So I'm realizing, looking at these meetings, and just I'm really overjoyed by what I'm seeing across the country. But we have such a great opportunity with these meetings Mondays and Thursdays. By the way, what night is y'all's meeting?
Thursday nights.
Okay, perfect. I want to get out there, dude.
We'd love to have you.
I'm gonna be out in Fort Myers. I mean, it's not Tampa, but I'm out in Fort Myers on the 18th of August. But I want to get out to your city and do one. I'd love to do it. But obviously, with this whole push towards warm market, and this whole push towards, bringing new people in, and this whole push towards hiring direct agents, I mean, obviously that's going to continue to create a boom for you and Hidden Gems. What does the back half of 2022 look like for you guys?
I tell you what, it doesn't include. It doesn't include borderline board member.
Yeah, no, that's right.
It includes certified.
Amen to that.
And then honestly, I'm looking to get as many people across that threshold as possible, for lack of a better way to put it. I love that zero to logo phase, getting people to that logo, because what happens throughout that process and the increase in belief level from there, it's just it's inexplicable. And then from there, once they get to that point, if you harness that momentum, you can essentially carry them through the levels, especially with what we have going on with the overview meetings and the push to warm market, and what you can do now with social media and targeting. You can explode through the rest of this year, and have people run through I know nothing to all the way through EVP pretty seamlessly, just by plugging people in and duplicating, because it really is a game of duplication, and just creating, just like McDonald's, just creating franchises yourself on as many corners as possible.
No doubt.
And once you do that, and do it for the right reasons, everything else will take care of itself. So I'm looking at board member here in the next month, 2 at the most, and then obviously through that, just creating as many logos, as many VPs, helping as many people get to senior and beyond as possible, so that we can have some board members in the agency.
Yes, sir.
Because it's no fun by yourself.
No doubt. I love that, man. I love that, dude. That's great. Let me ask you a question, because Wayne, how long have you been with the company?
7 years.
This is year 7, right?
It's 7 years. July 30th.
Was it July or August?
July 30th is when I got my license.
How about that? 2015.
Yep.
No doubt. Now, you've been selling the whole time, right?
Yes, sir.
Why is it important that you've been selling the whole time?
I think, and I backed off a little bit, but I think for me, it's a credibility thing, and it's also the ability to always relate to the people that I'm working with. Because if I'm doing the same thing that they're doing the entire time, then there's no question as to whether or not what I'm talking to them is real. Nobody's questioning that, or nobody's wondering whether or not it's accurate, or whether or not it's going to work, because obviously they're looking at the results that are happening for me on a pretty consistent basis. And it just does wonders for the ability to do things across the board.
No doubt. And you were in the field, and you morphed kind of into to a virtual, the Zoom appointment deal, correct? Or are you doing both? Is it a hybrid, or are you doing more Zoom?
It's both. It's both, and it just happened surreal. Not surreal. It happened naturally. I wasn't I was contemplating going virtual, but didn't really want to do it because I was so comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with the in-home process.
Right.
But now it's probably 60, 40, 70, 30 virtual, to be honest,
Okay.
because with COVID, it became a preferred way to do business.
Mm-hmm.
And what it forced me to do, because it became a preferred way to do business, because I fought it for a long time, was really just figure out how to get good at it and
Mm-hmm.
how to do it effectively. Because I was just in my own head. I wasn't excited about it. Um, and I just felt like it wasn't going to be as beneficial despite what everybody else was doing. But getting out of my own head, just asking questions, just going back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with everything else, going back to basics and finding the people that were doing it. I leaned on JP and the other usual suspects that had made that transition just to figure out how I could then take that and make it my own. And now it's really created um, a situation where like FFL is undeniably the best option, regardless of what you want to do and how you want to do it, which makes the second half of the year that much more exciting um, in the industry.
No doubt about it. What's some of the stark differences between virtual, Zoom, and in home for you?
Um, for me, it's being a better storyteller and more effective at articulating things when you're virtual versus in home because you're not across the table from them. They can't read your body language. You don't have a lot of the things that you have when you're sitting face to face with them. So virtually you have to recreate those things and actually find opportunities to connect with people by basically listening to things that they say about where they're from, the things that they enjoy, kind of like the dog thing earlier. That's something that, like you said, that's something that only Wayne would do. But honestly, before it was virtual, I probably wouldn't have pocketed that to use intentionally later on. And it's little things like that to bring things full circle and just let people know that you're just a human being. You're there to help and normalize the process. And I'm a I'm a I'm a techie.
Hmm.
So I did everything in my power to make it feel like I was still sitting across the table from them and screen share and duplicating the process of the client profile sheet and really everything that they normally see when I'm face to face with them. I've found a way to duplicate it via Zoom.
No doubt. Now you know I'm the furthest thing from a techie. The reason why I laugh
Right.
is because every time I'm around you, you're laughing at me for not being a techie.
Dude has 10
I'm a
thumbs.
techie. I'm a techie. I'm like, no doubt. So that's great. Have you seen that has morphed into your organization, the virtual or the option, or has it been more, you know, field for hidden gems?
Um, it's actually it's spread throughout the organization. They do more telesales
Got
than
it.
Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same, but the idea of creating that experience is the same across the board. And honestly, what it's done is it's like I said, it's made it more attractive. It's made it easier, not easier, but made it more simple for people to go from part-time to full-time
Mm-hmm.
because you have more opportunities to work in between or around your existing work schedule so that it's not so you can just get more done. You can pack more in into a condensed time frame. And um, it's just made the agency that much more effective and efficient.
Nice. Well, again, you guys got a lot of growth, a lot of momentum. A lot of things are in the works. You got a lot of people that are poking their head out. as leaders that want to take on the mantle and continue to grow it. A lot of exciting stuff. Thank you for jumping on with me and sharing some of the twists and turns through 2022 for you guys and how you're going to finish the year strong. I appreciate you, brother.
No problem, man. I appreciate you having me. I hope it helps somebody.
All right, well, thank you, Wayne. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Keep listening. Keep tuning in. We love you. Appreciate the support. Thank you, Wayne. God bless.